We're coming back at you with J&J Dynasty. Just wanted to do a quick video here. Hopefully it's quick. The big Baker Mayfield trade, right? So obviously Mayfield got traded here for a conditional fifth round pick. Could be a fourth round pick, blah, blah, blah. Does anybody really care? What does it do for the Carolina Panthers? Yeah, that's where he went. I don't really care. It's much to do about nothing. The question is can he actually beat out Sam Darnold? But the fantasy assets that Carolina has that looked like they were in good position to move forward. What does that do being with the OTAs and everything like that Baker's already missed with the team building and things like that, with learning the offense? So without with being behind Sam Darnold being in the offense for 2 years, with Darnold maybe getting up to speed a little bit more with DJ Moore, Marshall, Robbie Anderson, if he plays, Christian Kirk, obviously. So those are the big guys that you really want to look at in that offense. So I mean, what would Baker Mayfield bring to that is really what the whole question should wind up being. So I mean, it's pretty easy to see. I think that McCaffrey is going to be not affected, actually maybe boosted by this. I mean, he did well when Darnold was healthy and McCaffrey was healthy in the beginning of the year. So they worked well together, and McCaffrey was putting up big numbers. So McCaffrey or Mayfield, I don't think it really matters for McCaffrey, right? Being that Mayfield did dump a lot of balls off to Kareem Hunt, which made him a viable handcuff for Nick Chubb. So as far as the running back situation goes, I don't think that that's going to hurt that a whole lot. DJ Moore may be a different story. Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham, what was it, over 2.5, 3 years? Couldn't get the ball to him. Odell goes to the Rams. He can still get the ball. He can still get open. You can't blame, the first couple of years, in Cleveland on a bum shoulder by Mayfield. You got to blame it on Mayfield, right? So I don't know what's going to happen there. I was excited. I was actually going to be trying to trade for a few shares of DJ Moore in some leagues that I thought were a little bit deficient in wide receiver help, thinking that I could get DJ Moore cheaply because he scored 230, 240 points last year and nobody cares about him. So I'm like, well, if that's what he had with mostly backup play, at least half the year, as compared to a bad quarterback, Darnold, what could he do with a healthy bad quarterback? What could he do with maybe a better version with Mayfield? This is prior to that, but just Darnold being the second year in the offense and being healthy with a better offensive line. With Christian McCaffrey, I was thinking, well, maybe DJ Moore could do a little better, right? Robbie Anderson, he supposedly is thinking about retiring. Who cares about Robbie Anderson? He had about an 8-game stretch a year and a half ago, and in the 2020 season, he had about an 8-game stretch where he was really good, and then he turned back into crappy Anderson, like he has been. This isn't Robbie Anderson of 7 years ago where he had upside, which he never fulfilled except for a couple of games in 2020, right? So Robbie Anderson is just completely off my boards. I'm not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole, doesn't matter. So then I guess it leaves Terrace Marshall. Well, did Terrace Marshall, build any rapport with Darnold? Everybody was saying, the camp reports, McCaffrey was saying that Darnold was looking good, just taking a huge step. Well, what does this mean for Marshall if Mayfield winds up being the quarterback? I don't know, but that's the big news for today. A conditional fifth round pick, maybe fourth, depending on how much he plays. I mean, we'll see if he can even beat out Sam Darnold. Darnold has a bigger arm. If he gets time, I think that he's more accurate. But, Baker Mayfield may be a better leader at times. So, we'll see how that plays out. I mean, they're throwing nothing away, a conditional fourth or a fifth round pick. Mayfield took a $3 million pay cut to make the move. So, I mean, Carolina's not risking a lot in this transaction. It's just the biggest concern is what is that going to have an effect on a mediocre offense with some decent pieces with a better offensive line that Mayfield is still being 5'10", can't see over. So, and doesn't have the biggest arm and doesn't have good decision making and now gets hurt 4 years into the league constantly and can't take a hit. And so, I mean, yeah, bust. Yeah, I think we would say that maybe for both of him and Darnold, right? So at any rate, I was looking for some mediocre, nice results for the wide receivers and McCaffrey, thinking, well, even if they're behind a lot in Carolina, even though Carolina thinks that they've got a winning team with the quarterback play, with everything there, they may not be. So I was thinking, garbage time, receptions, touchdowns, yardage for the wide receivers. At least if Darnold was there playing mediocre football, I don't know how much this is going to change that, other than maybe being less accurate. I don't know. But that's the big news today in fantasy football, the Baker Mayfield deal. I guess our final point is that some guys with some movement potential or quote-unquote talkability, with Gronk not being re-signed and Mike Evans talking about he thinks Gronk is going to stay retired. Well, didn't he say that same thing right before Brady came out of retirement? I mean, Mike Evans, didn't he say something like that? I thought somebody said, that they thought that Brady was going to stay retired. At any rate, I mean, who cares about that? I think Gronk is just doing it because he doesn't want to get beat up for the year, and the Buccaneers know it. He doesn't want to go through training camp. He probably is not going to play the first preseason game or be on the team, and that's about the time I think that they're going to wind up signing him, going into the last two preseason games. I mean, he stays in pretty good shape. You see him in the videos taking his shirt off all the time. A couple weeks for him probably is good enough to get into game shape where they don't have to play him constantly, and that's probably what they want to do. It would want to do is ramp him up throughout the season so that he's ready for the playoffs and the playoff push. So you don't want to burn the guy out, being that age, being that physical, and the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, that's just what my call is on him. I've got him stashed on one roster. I've got him and Kelsey, and I think it's him and Kelsey, or him and somebody else. So I'm in a good situation with two really good tight ends. If he doesn't pan out, the other guy, I'm going to just plug and play out the whole time and stream a tight end one game. So, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. But Gronk, I think he's going to play this year. I think that he wants another title run with Brady, and I think that he wants to see how Tampa Bay is looking in the preseason. Going to get reports from Tom. Tom's going to bitch a little bit, by the end of the preseason game, that he doesn't have enough weapons because he's only going to have Gage, and he's only going to have Evans and Fournette, so he's going to bitch, and then Gronk's going to come running into the rescue again, right? So that's my take on that. So there you got the last week or so, the 4th of July weekend here of 2022, some of the bigger news items with player movement or non-movement, I guess. So Baker Mayfield, let's give it like that, right? Gronk staying retired, that's whatever, but I think it's going to be that, right? So let's go with that. And that'll be the size of this video. If you like any of this content, click, subscribe, ask some questions. I mean, I'd love for people to ask me questions that I could respond to. Maybe this thing will grow, maybe it won't. But throwing some stuff out there, putting some timestamps on it by making predictions, we'll see if they come true. Have a great day. Until next time, take care.